Okay, so there's a new workbook called Decision Pulse. It's by my guest, Nick Tasler. He's also written The Impulse Factor. He's a best-selling author, and he's telling us how we can master our impulses, not be a slave to your impulses, and by doing that, how you can learn to make better decisions. Everybody wants to make a better decision, right?
Absolutely.
Particularly at certain times of the year when you might be sitting around a table with your family, or there might be a party situation where there's some alcohol involved, and all of a sudden, you've opened your mouth before you've put your brain in gear. How do we avoid that?
Well, part of the problem you mentioned there, Lynn, is particularly the time of year we put greater expectations on ourselves to make better decisions. And so we fall into this trap of trying to, we're overthinking essentially. And so that just adds to the stress. The stress leads to more bad decisions. The bad decisions lead to more stress, and it's this vicious cycle. So what do we do about it? Well, the big thing is you got to get clear on what it is that you really want. What's your decision pulse? And then let that guide your holiday decisions.
So let's use holidays as an example, because at some point during the year, there's always a holiday coming up somewhere. Why are they so stressful for us? Why do we find ourselves just getting all jammed up at the thought of either getting it all done, or being with family, or being in too many places at one time? What's the key component there? Yeah,
well, there's two primary reasons. And the first one is because there are so many decisions we have to make, which parties to go to, which gifts to buy, that all of a sudden we experience what's called decision fatigue, which is just simply an overabundance of decisions to make, and it very much stresses us out. And the second thing is high expectations. And we think of the holidays as these events that have to be perfect, when really they're events we want to be enjoyable. And there's a big difference.
Yes, I definitely can relate to that. Now, for me, I love it. I love all the, the festivities, and I love all the excitement, and even the decision making that has to go along with it. Not everybody relishes in that kind of thing. Do you think sometimes people really want to make the decision not to partake or not to be part of something, but they don't have the strength or the courage to say that, and so they end up making a decision that they regret later, like I went to this party or I went to this family gathering and I didn't really want to be there, so you walked in with a really bad attitude to begin with.
That's right. We feel compelled to kind of be all things to all people, to be in all these places at one time, and we really just we stretch ourselves to beyond any kind of a manageable limit, and so we end up with this resentment. And the worst thing about it is we go to this holiday party so that we can make mom or coworker or whoever happy.
Not ourselves.
Right. But we end up resenting them for sort of subtly making us do that, and they can feel the resentment. And so we went there to make them happy, and we ended up making them unhappy because they can feel our resentment.
And then, of course, you walk away with the guilt from that as well.
That's
okay,
right.
So the number one thing that you would suggest at any given time of the year when you're faced with that is do what's good for you.
That's right.
And then make it up to them later. All right, 7 essential decisions. We're almost out of time. I can't believe how fast this has gone. But what are examples of 7 essential decisions?
Sure. So again, the first thing is you have to understand sort of what the purpose of a decision is. And I often say that we got to shake ourselves out of this idea that the purpose of a decision is to find the best option. It's not. The purpose of a decision is to move you to the next decision. So that's the first sort of mindset shift you have to make.
Okay, so if you want more information on that, you just have to find the book, Decision Pulse. Very quickly, because we are running out of time, I want to take the last question. Do you have the last question?
Yes, I do.
The quiz. I'm doing well on my quiz.
You're getting an A so far. Do you typically choose your words carefully, or just say what's on your mind without much thought?
I usually think about what I'm going to say. But again, I think everything keeps going back to my profession. I might not be in the same situation as people at home. Is that what gets people in a lot of trouble, that they speak before they think?
Well, oftentimes, or again, we overthink it, and we end up saying something that in our head it made logical sense why we should have said that, and then it came out and we're like, ooh, that's not what I meant to say.
And how many times do people say, oh man, I should have said this, or I could have said that? They think of it on the way home, right?
All the time.
Like you have a witty retort to something, or putting someone in their place, and we never think of it at the moment.
That's right. That's right.
All right, this has really been very fascinating and eye-opening. I hope that you guys have learned something from it, and you can now kind of look inside yourself and decide what kind of person you are when it comes to impulses and mastering your decision. If there was one message to leave with people, what would it be?
Find your decision pulse and make every decision based on that one thing that you want to guide your life toward.
Do you feel like you make all the right decisions?
No, but I make all the decisions that move me in that direction. And sometimes they're right, sometimes they're not, but overall, I'm headed in the right direction.
All right. Well, thank you for heading us in the right direction. If you have questions or comments for Nick, please email me directly at lynn@lynndoyle.net. Until the next time, have a great one. Make good decisions. Bye-bye.